Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for an InSync software webinar. I'm Grant Neas, and I'm the Senior Project Engineer here at Rhythm Engineering. Today we're going to be discussing the InSync Web UI. And I'll step back just here a little bit. There's two major components of the InSync software. There's the InSync Web UI, which we'll be talking about today, and there's Central Sync, which is our configuration software, which we'll be covering in a future webinar. To get started with the InSync Web UI, it is a web-based interface that can be accessed from any web browser, whether it be from your PC, Mac, tablet, cell phone, any device that runs a web browser, you can access the InSync Web UI. So in order to access it, you type in an IP address of an intersection along your corridor. Once you've typed that into your address bar and hit enter, it'll bring you up to a login screen. The login credentials can be configured per user. They can have different rights, and we'll get into how you configure that in a little bit. Right now, I'm going to log in as an administrator. Once you log in, you'll see a home screen with a few different buttons, and the buttons are for some commonly used components of the InSync Web UI. The first one is the multi-camera view, and that's where you watch the processed camera views of InSync with the operational data processed on the screen. To the right of that, there's a daily summary button. In the daily summary button, it allows you to view the traffic count, the total traffic counts for a day, as well as the pedestrian actuations. To the right of that, you have the history viewer, and the history viewer lets you view the different phases and when they were serviced and how long and how long the queue was. A lot of different information that you can utilize for troubleshooting purposes. And then finally, there is a button for invalid logins, a security feature for you to watch and see if there's any incorrect logins trying to get into the system. Okay, so after you look at those four buttons, there's a menu structure over to the left, and you'll see 5 buttons here. When you're logged in as an administrator, you'll see all 5 of these buttons, but if you have a lower privilege level, such as a view only, you may not see all the buttons. But as administrator, you'll see all 5 of these buttons. We're going to start up here in the top left at the corridor button. When you click that, it brings out a pull-out menu of a few different pages that you can access. We'll start by going to the top one, which is the portal page. The portal page is a portal or a hub where you have all the links to the different InSync devices out in the field. So in this case, you have links for every intersection and to the respective InSync Web UI for each intersection. You also have, to the right of each of those, is you have links to each camera at each intersection, as well as the DIN relay, which is a remote power relay that lets you remotely power cycle your InSync devices. This page can be completely customized however you want, and we'll get into that and how you do that in a little bit. Okay, if we go back over to the corridor and then move down one page, you see the corridor view button. The corridor view allows you to see all the intersections along your corridor and can be customized however you want. So you can customize which camera views you want and what order they display in. In this particular case, it's an eastbound view only, but it can be customized however the agency wishes. The next menu is the corridor map. The corridor map gives you a Google Maps interface of all your intersections and the green returns. So as you can see here, you can see the whole corridor, which phases are green, and kind of just a graphical interface to see all your intersections. If you click on one of the intersections, it brings up the camera views just like if you were to log into the InSync Web UI. So you can think of this as like a graphical portal page. And some people prefer this, and some people prefer the text-based portal page that we showed previously. Moving on is there's a link for Central Sync, which will launch the Central Sync program and download the current configurations from out in the field. We'll cover that mechanism and how that works in a future webinar, but that functionality is available through the Web UI. The final button here is the communication status button. So if you click on the communication status, it'll bring up all the intersections in the current status. In this case, you're seeing that each intersection is communicating with each other properly, and it's reporting back intersection online. If there's any sort of interconnect communication issue, it'll report that in here and give you an idea of where that interconnect problem resides. In the next segment, we're going to be talking about the camera views and the different functionalities in that.